hour earlier.
A local Navy chopper down in the Atlantic off the coast of Virginia Beach.
We'll show you the crash site, plus you'll hear from a pilot who witnessed the rescue.
Team coverage
Straight ahead. Live in Hampton tonight. Now to the latest in this afternoon's Navy helicopter crash.
The chopper went down in the icy Atlantic Ocean, and this is amazing. All 8 people on board were able to walk away. We have team coverage tonight. Fox 43's Kay Young is live in Elizabeth City, where the rescue was launched.
But first, military reporter Patty Culhane joins us from the newsroom with new information. Patty.
David, Navy officials now say the helicopter crew was on a routine mine-sweeping operation about 30 miles off the coast. When the trouble started, the pilot had a chance to make a mayday call, and lucky for them, in this weather, a rescue was launched within minutes.
From the C-130 that heard the first call for help, this video of the rescue underway. 2 Navy helicopters hovering above a life raft. One by one, a rescue swimmer lifts the 8 survivors to safety. In the bottom corner, you can see what's left of the MH-53 Sea Dragon, still afloat. Proof of how fast this rescue happened.
If we had to wait out there, even with anti-exposure suits on, the water was just too cold today to spend too much time in it.
In 40-degree weather, their flight suits still soaking, the crew was able to walk from the rescue helo to a waiting ambulance and into the emergency room.
Cold and wet. Other than that, they looked well.
It's about one of the worst situations you can imagine. So to have all my 8 guys safely out of that helicopter is absolutely phenomenal.
Commander Mike Cashman is in charge of those guys. He says the pilots had to make the tough call when they ran into mechanical problems in a helicopter like this one. Try to make it back to land or ditch the aircraft. He says they made the right call.
It was a textbook landing. These guys did an absolutely incredible job of putting a 70,000-pound helicopter softly on the water and getting the crew out and getting the raft out.
Cashman says his crew actually waited. The helo was sinking. They sat inside until the rotor stopped turning, then they jumped.
I don't know how they didn't panic. I don't know how you could not, except for just good, solid training.
Now the 8 survivors and the rescue swimmer were checked out at the hospital. They were going to be released. The Navy is investigating the crash, but it could take a few months before they know the cause. David.
All right, thanks, Patty.
Continuing our team coverage tonight, a Coast Guard plane was just minutes away from the Navy helicopter when it went down.
Tonight, the Coast Guard pilot spoke with Fox 43's Kay Young, and she joins us now live from Elizabeth City with his account of the rescue. Kay?
Well, the Coast Guard prides itself on always being ready to help, and this afternoon a C-130 Coast Guard plane was flying about 40 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach when the plane went down. Now, it was the perfect place and the perfect timing to assist those sailors.
At that moment, we heard a mayday call from an aircraft in distress. They said that they were ditching their aircraft 30 nautical miles off the coast of Oceana Naval Air Station.
At that moment, a routine Coast Guard law enforcement patrol became a rescue. A passenger on the first Coast Guard plane to arrive took this video. You can see the wreckage of the Navy helicopter in the water. Within 5 minutes of hearing the mayday call, Coast Guard pilot Lieutenant Peter Evanek was above the scene.
We flew overhead, ascertained that there were 8 people on board the raft, got communications with the personnel on the raft, and they said that everyone that was on the helicopter was on board the raft and they were in good condition.
The Coast Guard coordinated rescue efforts with air traffic controllers.
The first 2 helicopters on scene were 2 Navy H-60s, and they started hoisting the crew members on board their helicopters.
8 sailors from the Vanguards, a minesweeping squadron, were lifted to safety one by one. 4 went into each helicopter. The rescue took more than an hour, and after the last sailor was picked up, one of the choppers landed on the USS Bataan to refuel before heading to the hospital. Lieutenant Evanek credits the Vanguards that they all made it back to land safely.
Honestly, I think that their crew did a great job.
Now, that C-130 did stay on the scene for the entire rescue. There were also 2 Coast Guard helicopters on the scene, flying in the area just in case they were needed. Now, tonight, the Coast Guard officials say that because it was a military plane that went down, the military will be responsible for salvage efforts as well as the investigation.
All right.